"You're not getting a single room," my brother whispered at Mom's funeral. I froze as he handed papers to a lawyer. Then someone said, "Wait, that's not the final will." My name is Danielle Harper, and I'm 34 years old. I've always been the quiet one in my family, the one who didn't argue, didn't demand, and didn't fight for attention. I work as a nurse, taking long shifts and double weekends, helping strangers survive while barely holding myself together. My brother was always the favorite, the one everyone praised and trusted without question. Growing up, I learned to live with less. I had the smaller room, fewer gifts, and less affection. But I told myself it didn't matter. I focused on working harder. When our mom got sick, I stayed. I paid the bills, cooked every meal, and held her hand through nights filled with machines beeping and quiet pain. My brother showed up when it suited him, always acting like the hero. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had something they didn't expect. I had patience, and I had proof they never noticed. If you've ever been the one who gave everything while others took credit, you already understand this pain. Subscribe and share your story in the comments because I read every one. And if you've ever been overlooked by your own family, click hype and stay with me. The funeral ended with quiet hugs and forced sympathy, but the tension stayed in the air like heavy smoke. My brother stepped forward before anyone could speak. "Mom trusted me with everything," he said loudly, making sure everyone heard him. A lawyer stood beside him, holding a folder. I felt my chest tighten. He started handing out papers, smiling like he had already won something. When my turn came, he skipped me. Just like that. No explanation. People noticed. Some whispered, some looked away. I finally spoke. "What about me?" My voice shook. He leaned close and said quietly, "You did your part, now step aside." I felt heat rise to my face. "That doesn't make sense," I said, louder this time. He cut me off. "It's done." The lawyer cleared his throat and confirmed the documents. The house had already been transferred, signed recently. My mind raced. Mom hadn't even been fully aware in her last weeks. Something felt wrong. A distant relative whispered behind me, "Unless there's another will." I held on to that thought like it was the only thing keeping me standing. A few days later, I went back to the house. My key didn't work. I knocked. My brother opened the door halfway. "This isn't your home anymore," he said. I stared at him, speechless. That house held every memory I had left. He shut the door in my face. I stood there listening to the lock click. At a family dinner that weekend, he made it worse. "She thinks changing diapers makes her a hero," he joked, and a few people laughed. I looked down at my plate, the smell of food suddenly making me sick. I wanted to leave, but I stayed. I needed to understand what was happening. Slowly, relatives began siding with him. He showed them papers, but never the full picture. I noticed things, small things. The way Mom hesitated when signing documents, the confusion in her eyes, the strange timing of that lawyer's visits. My brother started renovating the house right away, acting like it had always been his. I felt invisible, like everything I had done meant nothing. But I didn't stop watching. I didn't stop thinking. Because deep down, I knew something wasn't right. What they didn't know was I had been keeping records. Every doctor visit, every prescription, every moment that mattered. I didn't plan it at first. It just became a habit while caring for Mom. I wrote things down to stay organized. But now, those notes meant something else. I remembered the lawyer visits my brother arranged. They felt rushed, uncomfortable. I didn't understand it then, but I saved everything. I had copies of medication logs that showed Mom wasn't fully aware at certain times. I started reviewing everything carefully. Dates didn't match, signatures didn't feel right. Something about that will didn't sit well with me. I kept digging. Late nights, papers spread across my table, the silence filled only by my breathing. And then I found it, a detail that changed everything. I went to see an old family lawyer who had known my mom for years. He wasn't the one at the funeral. I felt nervous walking into his office, the smell of old paper and books filling the room. I explained everything. He listened quietly, then said, "Your mother would never leave you out." That was the first time someone said it out loud. He checked his records and found something important. There was another version of the will. My heart started pounding. Meanwhile, my brother believed everything was settled. He even talked about selling part of the house. I stayed quiet. The lawyer began gathering proof, comparing documents, and finding inconsistencies. We worked carefully, making sure everything was solid. My family had no idea. My brother grew more confident each day, but we were preparing. A formal will reading was arranged, and this time, things would be different. We all sat in the legal office, the room quiet except for the ticking clock on the wall. My brother leaned back in his chair and smirked. "Let's not waste time," he said. The old lawyer looked at him calmly. "We already have," he replied. He placed a document on the table. "This is the original will." My brother's smile faded. The lawyer continued. "The version presented earlier was signed under questionable conditions." My brother tried to interrupt, but the lawyer raised his voice. "Medical records show she was not fully aware." I watched as my notes were placed on the table. Every detail, every date. My brother's face turned pale. The lawyer began reading the real will. It divided everything equally. It even mentioned me, thanking me for my care. The room went silent. No one spoke. Relatives shifted in their seats. My brother looked around, searching for support, but found none. The lawyer added, "There may be legal consequences for this." I stayed calm. "I didn't need to fight," I said quietly. "I just needed the truth." In the end, I got my rightful share of the house, but I didn't go back. I chose to sell my part and start fresh, somewhere peaceful. My brother faced the consequences, both legal and personal. People saw him differently now. The truth changed everything. Some relatives tried to apologize, but it felt too late. I had already moved on. I realized something important. I wasn't invisible. I was just quiet. And sometimes the quiet ones are the ones holding everything together until the truth finally speaks for them. If your family ever tried to take what was rightfully yours, you know how deep that betrayal cuts. Share your story in the comments because I want to hear it. Subscribe to be part of the space where your voice matters, and click hype to help the story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype helps someone else feel stronger. Thank you for being here and for listening.